All right. So late last night, we see the blockbuster news that Christian McCaffrey was traded to the 49ers. The Niners sent a second, third, and fourth round pick in 23 and a fifth round pick in 24 to Carolina. I mean, to San Francisco from Carolina. Um, Now, the 49ers obviously clearly feel that they are in win now championship mode. And we saw what the Los Angeles Rams did and the way they kind of pushed all their chips to the center table, said, draft picks be damned. I'm going to go get a Super Bowl. And they did it. Niners seem to be doing the same thing. Um, you now have an offense that has Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. I mean, and a stable of running backs and one of the smartest, most creative coaches in the league. I picked the 49ers to be in the Super Bowl before the season started, so this kind of makes my prediction feel a little bit better. But uh, for the Falcons specifically, they get McCaffrey out of the division, and they still have 2 games against the Panthers. That's a plus. And you have a team that's pretty much in full-on rebuild mode going forward. There are 2 things that I will highlight about this trade that I think are critically important for the Falcons and Falcons fans to understand, and it's this. And we even did this yesterday when we played Crazy GM, right? Talked about getting Roquan Smith here. Stop hoarding draft picks like they are the end all be all to your future. They are if you want your rebuild to take 3 or 4 years before you get out of it. They won't be, or your rebuild won't be that long if you make moves for legitimate players. It's the way of the gun in the NFL now, folks. You can't escape it. I mean, you can do this slow rebuild thing, knock yourself out. You can be the Detroit Lions, go for it. Keep stockpiling draft picks. Keep drafting second and third at the top of the draft every year. You're going to get good players. And over the course of 3 or 4 years, you'll get enough good players that you'll have a roster that's competitive. If you don't want to wait that long, go trade for viable pieces now. I am a 100%, and I love it when GMs go all in. I will never fault the GM for going all in. I don't think that there's anything wrong with what the Niners have done. And if it doesn't work for them, oh well, you swung, you took a shot, you might have missed, but guess what? You took a shot. I'd rather my GM be that aggressive and give away the draft picks and figure it out down the road because at the end of the day, guess what? You know what the Niners don't know? What those second, third, and fourth picks are going to be as far as what number they're going to be, who's going to be available. It doesn't mean that it is impossible for you to continue to get better. It just means you have to do it differently. That's all it means. And oh, by the way, this ended up being a very friendly cap deal for the Niners, as he's a 1-year rental on a cheap contract for San Francisco at $1.03 million against the cap this year. Now he's owed $11.8 million next year, but because the Niners don't inherit the bonus proration of the salary, they don't have to worry about that. So it lessens the cap hit of $19 million to a much more amenable number. So yes, of course, it is very big for a running back, but still, um, I am not surprised by this deal, but still, I am very much a proponent of teams going all in. I like to watch it, and I hope that the Falcons are willing to do the same thing. I hope that they're willing to go beyond just signing players in free agency because, again, guess what? There's a lot of factors in free agency you can't control. There's only one factor in a trade where you can get a team to say yes. That's it. Only one factor in a trade. In free agency, a player gets to choose what they want. There are factors of who they're playing with and everything else. The player has no say in a trade. It's the GM who has the say. So I think that part is very critically important to understand and know. And if the Falcons are going to get better quick, they're going to have to make some legitimate trades. I know everybody's waiting it out and saying, look, we're playing with house money. We're playing with house money. Here's the thing. And remember this, and take a lesson from the Atlanta Hawks because I've told you this before. Do not let what you're seeing now affect where you think you're going to be in a year because everything is going to change and other teams are going to get better. I say it again repeatedly. The worst thing to happen to the Hawks was them for the beat the 76ers 2 years ago in the playoffs. Beating the Knicks was fine. Winning a first round series was fine. Getting to the Eastern Conference Finals set this team ahead mentally of where they thought they would be. And everybody expected them to take another step, and they can't do it. Just because they are 9-7 this year, or 9-8, or 10-7, and make the playoffs doesn't guarantee anything. Look at what we're seeing in the NFL with the Packers, with the Rams, with the Buccaneers. Right? You're getting turnover in the playoffs every year. And as of right now, there's no data to prove that the Falcons are a consistent perennial playoff team like the Steelers, like the Ravens, like the Patriots were when Brady was there. Like, you can't just pencil them in the playoffs. Can't do it. So, got to be very, very cautious of what we're seeing and not letting it affect how you want to build a championship team in the future. I'd love for the Falcons to go make a move at the deadline. I'd love it. I'm not against it at all. They go get a guy like Roquan Smith, give up a second and a third or whatever it is for Roquan Smith, go for it. Go for it. Got to be able to resign him, but go for it. I mean, like I said yesterday, you'll be able to tag him, keep him at least for 2 years. So you're giving up two draft picks for 2 years, I think, or a year and a half, I should say. That's fine by me. I hope Fontenot is that aggressive down the road. We'll 100% have to see if he really is. You can get more great information on the Falcons at Locked On Falcons. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Falcons one of your first listens every single day. Make sure you check out NFL key predictions every Friday at Locked On NFL. Locked On's local experts give you the inside scoop on the 5 biggest games in the NFL weekend, including Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football. Which, oh, by the way, aren't the Bears in primetime again? It's like crazy. Anyway, betting advice from the field's leading experts at BetOnline. You know where we go for that. As well, follow NFL Key Predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL. It's available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.